So, students, welcome to Good Morning Laex, 18th August 2019. Let us start the discussion on few questions which are given in the last test, that is the comprehensive test 7. Let us see these questions. Emergence of self-help groups in contemporary times points to the slow but steady withdrawal of the state from developmental activities. Examine the role of the SHGs in developmental activities and the measures taken by the government of India to promote SHGs. This is the question. Now, the first is examine that particular statement. Withdrawal of the state has led to the rise of SHGs. There are many other factors which have led to the rise of SHGs. So, previously, the state had the paternalistic approach in its schemes and programs. Now, from the paternalistic approach, we want empowerment centric development of the weak and marginalized. And the next is development itself is getting engendered. It means there is a popular statement, if development is not engendered, it would be endangered. So, engendering of the development has become an important theme. And the third thing is the developmental process is more, or it was trying to provide for the social aspects into consideration. So that's why social capital as a concept which has come into existence. And then microfinance movement, this started in Bangladesh with Grameen Bank, and it has become highly successful, and it's a way towards financial inclusion. So, one way, the state's withdrawal because of the increasing burden and the responsibility to be created on the shoulders of the people to develop themselves and engendering the development, all these factors have led to the growth of SHGs. And the second thing is how the SHGs were helpful for the development. There are many positive externalities, like the voice was given to women. Women groups or associations are come into existence. If you talk about Dwakwa groups, etc., these women associations and the groups became or got politicized, and political mobilization was possible or was made possible. And also they became themselves as an organized interest groups demanding for the benefits with the governments and the political parties. So in this context, this politicization of the groups and converting them into an organized interest groups, it gave them the necessary voice. And the positive externalities are also seen in the form of changing priorities and policies at the local government level. So, along with the SHGs, we also have that is reservations for the women in the local governments, that has increased the presence of the women, and then it has shifted the policy priorities towards the girl child education, nutritional needs of the family, etc. And if you see the positive externalities of Kudumbashri, etc., you need to see into this context. And the next part of the question, the steps taken by the government of India. So, in India, the most successful SHG model is bank SHG linkage. The commercial banks are giving the loans to SHGs. These commercial banks, which are giving loans, are being refinanced by NABARD. To refinance these commercial banks and microfinance institutions, there came PM Mudra Yojana. And along with that, we have National Rural Livelihood Mission, Swarna Jayanti Gramin Swarajgar Yojana. All these are meant to increase the participation of the people, active involvement with regard to the SHGs. So these are the points which you need to cover with regard to this question. And the next question is multiplicity of various commissions for the vulnerable sections of the society leads to problems of overlapping jurisdiction and duplication of functions. Is it better to merge all the commission into an umbrella human rights commission? Argue your case. Now, see, so we have National Commission for SC, ST, OBC today. Now these are all the different constitutional bodies and statutory bodies like National Commission for Women, National Commission for Minorities, etc. So why can't we merge them into National Human Rights Commission? All the issues are related to human rights itself. The first is specificity of the problems which they face. Let me put it this way, the Dalits and tribals, their problems are not one and the same. The second is these agencies not just do protective functions, they also provide for promotive functions. Protective and promotive functions, it means they take various steps for the upliftment of the people. They are not just investigative in their nature. And the third thing is the proactive nature of these functions. Normally, human rights commissions, etc., they are reactive in nature. But National Commission for SCs, STs, etc., they submit various reports to the government on the status or plight of these particular people. Now, so that's why there is a proactive action which comes from these particular agencies. One is specificity, specialization, and then protective and preventive or promotive actions which they take up. And along with that, these agencies which are being created through the constitution, etc., these also have representation of the Dalits. They majorly consist of representation of the Dalits. When Dalits are being represented, these are, I mean, they are experienced with the problems of the Dalits, and they're also area experts in that particular area. The personnel are the experts in the issues of the Dalits or tribals, etc., who have ground experience. But human rights commissions, etc., these are more legalistic and judicial bodies. So the judicial actions are prominent, or judicial nature of their functioning is more prominent, and these are being filled with judges rather than the area experts. That's why the what we can say merging of these all bodies is taking up a view that human rights, irrespective of the social group which is involved, are one and the same. But however, this generalist approach may not be helpful for the reason that the problems of different social groups are different from each other. Let's go to the next question. Effectiveness of the government system at various levels and people's participation in the governance system are interdependent. Discuss the relationship in the context of India. So, what it is saying, developmental effectiveness and effectiveness of the functioning of the government and people participation, they are interdependence with each other. The government effectiveness and people participation are interdependent with each other. So let's understand how the people participation is important for governance effectiveness. Now, one thing, the people participation leads to a factor which is called as building of social capital and also trust between the government agencies and the citizens. This is known as co-governance. And people participation also educates them, and this educated citizenry or informative citizenry obviously can ensure greater accountability of the government. The next part is the participation leads to mobilization of the local resources towards the development, and this mobilization of local resources and community owning of the assets, all it will lead to the better maintenance and progress. And the participation of the people has another dimension, that is the democratic dimension. People, or enlarged population of the people, effective participation of the people, this all leads to enhance in the decision making process or quality of the decision making in the government. From the purely governance dimension, if we observe, the participation is necessary to ensure the proper delivery or public service delivery. It means the citizens, when they are involved with this, the priorities of the citizenry and citizen centric administration is possible. So, here we need to talk about various factors such as social, what is the accountability mechanisms. If you take citizen report cards, the citizen participation through citizen report cards has improved the public services. Yesterday, I discussed about communitization of the services in Nagaland. That's also increased the citizen participation. So, the governance and public service delivery increases with the citizen participation. Now, whenever we write these type of questions, as many examples we can write, so much is the benefit to us. So, with regard to co-governance, in AP, we have these Maitri, which is civilian and police coordination or cooperation group. Educated and accountability, Social audit is an example. Place all the records before the people. Mobilization and community owning of assets. In this context, we have rainwater harvesting, etc. mechanisms which are being promoted by various state governments. Enhancement of the democracy. So the mobilization of the people, when all the different sections of the society comes together and makes the decisions, various barriers which are involved towards the deepening of democracy like caste, gender, etc. will come down. And the developmental priorities gets distributed across the social groups. So, governance, public service delivery, citizen charters, citizen centric administration, grievance redressal mechanisms, citizen report cards, all these are the examples in this particular context. Now, the last question here is the pressure groups in India are overweight by religion, caste, and language rather than ideological considerations. Do you agree? Substantiate. Now, in this, we need a bit of depth to understand this topic. In India, this question is actually we call it as involuted pluralism in India. In India, there is rise of number of caste groups, religious groups. But however, the increase in the number of ideological factors is not very strong. So the caste religious groups are on rise, but these are not converting into more number of ideas. So the civil society organizations are mushrooming. The ideas are not increasing. And the second is silo mentalities are strong. It means every group it tries to work for its own considerations rather than working for a wider and greater agenda. And third, in India, the pressure groups are not professionalized. The pressure groups are more demand groups rather than command groups. What is the demand and command group? So the demand group comes from the bottom up. So command groups they try to influence the government and its actions at the policy level. So in India we have more demand groups rather than command groups. And the fourth thing is politicization of the pressure groups is very high in India. The mobilization of the pressure groups happens at the context or in the context of the political parties. So the difference between political parties and the pressure groups is very minimal. So RSS BJP, so they see as hand in glove. So the political parties, I mean, don't write this example. The trade unions and left parties, they see as each other as extension of the other. So the politicization of the pressure groups is very strong in India. And the next is ideological dearth. It means most of the the pressure groups are mobilized based on very small considerations, but not on wider ideological factors, wages, etc. These are the small considerations, day-to-day considerations, rather than ideological shifts in governmental thinking, etc. These are not being focused upon. And the next, the pressure groups in India are also organized by the business entities, commercial entities, and these pressure groups and organized by the business entities. Mostly they are command in nature rather than demand in nature. So as the demand is high, the actions of the pressure groups are not planned and systematic, but they are spontaneous. So if the longevity and the another factor is longevity. The longevity of the pressure groups is very low in India, and the sustainability of their actions is also a problem in India. Simple example: women associations or women pressure groups. These start certain movement and it fizzles off. So longevity of the pressure groups etc. is very low. All these are due to one reason: the pressure groups in India are more actionable groups on a specific issue rather than a permanent group on a working on a permanent issue or sustainable basis. So the pressure groups in India need to be well organized, professionalized, systematic, and shall ensure their work in a sustainable basis. For all this to happen, there has to be something called ideological glue. This is my opinion about this pressure groups. So these are the points, these are the four questions which I wanted to discuss to you today. And thank you very much. Have a great day. Have a great Sunday. If possible, please write the answers here and send it to me on WhatsApp 9121239997. Please send on this WhatsApp number 9121239997 so that I can go through those answers once and I can make necessary recommendations. So again, thank you very much for all the students. And anyone who wants to join this program, they have to come on 3752349120. Let me take the doubt session now. Yeah, this is a Zoom ID, Zoom app you need to download. Let's take the doubt session.